How about that Jimmy Butler experience, baby? It's one game. But if you're excited, if you're pumped up about how game one of the Jimmy Butler experience went, and you're elated and you're pumped, you have every right to be. The new look Warriors delivered. It was a beautiful game. It was a wild game. A lot of interesting swings. Stephen Curry pumping in 24 in the third quarter to turn this game around. Let's break it down, baby. Jimmy Butler's in the house. The Warriors are back on the right track of the win-loss column. They're 500 again, 30 games to play in the season. And I think they're primed for a little run, folks. Let's break it all down next. This is the Golden Days.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Woo! Let's go.
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you got
I'm just going to the numbers right now, and they are effing. Hey now. Welcome to a Saturday night live edition of the Golden Days. I'm your host for the evening, Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at DogWild over on Twitter. My handle is Surf Journalist, and the program is on both those platforms at Golden Days Pod. The Golden State Warriors victorious on this Saturday evening in a game highlighted with the debut of Jimmy Butler, 132-111, the final score. If I told you that the Warriors were trailing by 14 at the half, and then they won by 21 points, you might think I'm crazy. That's how crazy this game was. But the Warriors... Whoop, I got muted there for a second, and that's my system. I apologize for that. I was much more, I was very curious to see if the Bulls could sustain a shooting pace like that. Most teams cannot. The Bulls could not. And the Golden State Warriors taking care of business. Stephen Curry with a 24-point third quarter. The 40, Bob Fitzgerald, I couldn't believe when he said this. The 41st time in his career that Stephen Curry has scored 20 or more points in a quarter. That is an absurd stat. That if true, mad on, brother. Stephen Curry. That's what happens when you get him help. The dude can still play. The dude's still at the peak of his powers. And let's break it all down after we give some love first to our sponsors for the evening. First and foremost, Golden Days, Underdog Fantasy. Literally our newest sponsor. We got another brand new sponsor coming in 2 weeks. I had the dates wrong about that, but Underdog Fantasy is sponsoring us now. Use the promo code GSW for your chance to not only get a free pick, that part comes with it, but you can also get up to $1,000 in bonus cash just by playing. And I post all of my picks on social media. If you want to follow along, I'm already winning. And you can win with me. Why not? Or you can roll on your own. Whatever you want to do, download the app. If you live in California, which over half of our audience does, good news for you folks. It's legal here in California. All you have to do, again, is use the promo code GSW for your chance to get not just a free pick, but up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Underdog Fantasy. It is super fun. And now that Jimmy Butler is on the Warriors, that's another option I'm going to be looking at in terms of my underdog picks. Today's episode also brought to you by the good doctor himself, Dr. Tom Rosanelli, practicing here in San Francisco. He's treated Bay Area sports, broadcasting, media, arts legends. The man uses the most advanced and latest technology when it comes to hair restoration. Gentlemen, if it's fallen out, feel good about it. Do something about it. Don't be the LeBron James of old. Be the LeBron James of new, and call the good doctor, Tom Rosanelli, 415-931-9881. The number again, 931-9881 or visit Rosanelli.com. And last but not least, BetOnline. The Super Bowl is tomorrow, and why not use the world's most trusted betting platform for all those ridiculous props, for all the lines? They've got you covered, not just for the Super Bowl. I mean, you can keep playing after that. They got a casino, obviously NBA games in action. Major League Baseball is just around the corner. Go check out BetOnline. The game starts here. And speaking of the game starting and ending right here, how about them Warriors? Again, a final score tonight, 132-111. Look, beating the Bulls is not something you want to brag about. I get that. The Chicago Bulls, after this game, fall to 22-31. The Warriors back to 500, 30 games remaining on the season. The record for them is now 26-26. We'll get to the standings in a little bit, but this was a game loaded with runs, and I have a lot written down on my notes. I'm obviously going to welcome the audience as well if they want to jump in, but there is no coincidence, folks, that the Warriors had a fantastic start to this game, and it coincided with the debut of Jimmy Butler. That's what happens when you actually have legitimate talent on your team, and especially in your starting lineup. The Warriors have been struggling when it comes to starts. Make no mistake about it. They've been playing a lot of catch-up basketball. Now, they did have a struggle in the second quarter, but that third quarter flipped around again. And for Stephen Curry to drop 24 in that third quarter, make no mistake that the impact of having help on your team, the impact of having someone who's going to garner the attention of the opposition, the fact that you have someone who can make up for misses, who can make up for holes that present themselves in your lineup. Jimmy Butler fixes so much. He's still at the peak of his powers. He's happy here. So that's a huge concern a lot of people have had is, well, is he going to bring the disgruntled version of himself? No, why would he? He's a smart dude. I learned just today that he's actually a chess player. I've been playing chess my whole life, and I do believe that is a game that is exercise for your brain. He isn't just working out his physique. That dude works out the mental aspect of his life. He's a chess player. That just, when I learned that today, that just made me like him a million times even more. And folks, wait until Jonathan Kuminga's back. If you were entertained, if you had fun by tonight's game, wait until Kuminga is in this lineup, because Kuminga would have made a colossal impact in the second quarter of this game. A second quarter where the Golden State Warriors were outscored, and the second quarter was the only reason why this game was even close to begin with. But the Warriors were outscored in the second quarter 38-21. And this was a game of runs. Where as part of that 38-21 second quarter outscoring production that the Bulls, produced, sorry to be redundant there, the Bulls ending the first quarter going into the second quarter went on a 22-2 run to give them the lead that the Warriors had to come back from in the third quarter. Now, the Warriors themselves in the third quarter went on a 38-10 run. The Bulls led by as much as 24. The Warriors led by as much as 21. And thankfully, the team with the lead at the end wins, and the Warriors had that as they come away victorious tonight by a final score, again, 132-111. The numbers themselves are staggering. We're going to start with Stephen Curry, who, again, finally has some goddamn help on this team. It's been a while since we've seen what Stephen Curry can do when he has competency alongside him on a basketball court. He has that again. And oh, what a big surprise. What a massive coincidence. Stephen Curry drops 24 in that third quarter. And that really was a difference. When you look at Stephen Curry's numbers, and again, that's what I'm going to start with right here. Steph in the first half of this game wasn't playing bad at all. I mean, he had 10 points. He was 3 of 6 shooting from deep, but the Warriors trailed by 14. And the score more specifically was 69-55 at the half. And a huge reason for that was Kobe White not missing a damn thing. The Bulls themselves were not missing a damn thing. Chicago was 11 of 21 from 3 at the half. That's 52.4% shooting from deep. That's an absurd number for any team to post for a sample size as large as a half of basketball. Shooting over 50% from 3 as a team for 24 minutes, that's absurd. Yet that's what the Bulls were doing to the Warriors. They couldn't miss at the first half. Jalen Smith was 4 of 4 from deep. Kobe White was 3 of 4 from deep. Desumnu was a perfect 1 of 1. Buzelli was perfect 1 of 1. Who else here was dropping threes? There were other folks I know were burning them. Kevin Huerter was 1 of 3 new Chicago Bull. Patrick Williams was 1 of 3 shooting from deep. Again, there were 11 of 21 the Bulls were shooting at the half from deep. But then we go to the third quarter, and Wardell, Stephen Curry took over. Steph in that third quarter was 5 of 8 shooting from 3, 7 of 11 shooting from the field. There was a play where he grabbed an absurd rebound and put back the bucket when he had no business doing that as one of the smallest guys on the court out there. 24 points. He was a plus 18 in net rating in that third quarter. Moses Moody, by the way, in that third quarter was a plus 23 in terms of net rating. But the point is, Stephen Curry had himself a game. His final stat line tonight, 34 points, second on the team in net rating with a plus 23. I stand corrected, third on the team in net rating with a plus 23. 8 of 16 shooting from beyond the arc. Steph shot 50% from 3, 10 of 19 from the field total. Even had 4 trips to the free throw line. Did he have 4 or 5? Because I know he shot there was one sequence where I thought he shot a technical. Well, he had 8 free throw attempts total. Surprisingly missed 2 free throws in this game, was 6 of 8, which he does not normally do. Added 4 rebounds, added 6 assists, 34 points for Wardell Stephen Curry in his first game in a long ass time, having some help offensively. Now, Jimmy Butler, his new superstar teammate, in his debut as a member of the Golden State Warriors, 25 points. Maybe the most noteworthy stat for him were the 13 free throw attempts. The Warriors do not have players who get to the line on a consistent basis. Jonathan Kuminga leads the team in free throw attempts per game, but he's been injured for a while, so it's easy to forget that. Andrew Wiggins was one of the only other guys who would consistently get to the free throw line, but Jimmy Butler can get points the easy way, a way that the Warriors have almost forgotten how to do. 11 of 13 from the free throw line. The dude had 13 free throw attempts in his debut, 7 of 12 shooting from the field, 4 assists, 2 rebounds in this game, a plus 16 net rating, and again, 25 points for Jimmy Butler. Even though Stephen Curry had the absurd stat line, Stephen Curry had a bigger night. To post those kinds of numbers for your debut will garner Player of the Game award. So congratulations to Jimmy Butler in his Warriors debut. He is our Underdog Fantasy Player of the Game with that 24-point attempt. Yeah, Tim Ford is saying, I'm in heaven right now. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I like this Warriors team. It's been a while since this team has actually had some damn talent on it. I'm giddy. And look, no pun intended, given the Warriors just beat the piss out of Josh Giddey, but it wasn't just those two. Guy Santos, side note, that third quarter where the Warriors outscored the Chicago Bulls 42-25. Do not pretend Guy Santos didn't play a huge part in that. Guy Santos deserves his flowers tonight. The first half of this game was not much of a half for Guy Santos, but he also didn't play that much. He only played 3 minutes and 48 seconds. Hard to develop any consistency when you're barely getting minutes. But in that third quarter, I already talked about Stephen Curry. Guy Santos was clutch in the third and the fourth quarters, but the energy he brought. He grabbed 4 rebounds in 3 minutes, 21 seconds in that third quarter. The defense, the length, the Bulls are a long team. So props to Guy Santos for coming in as well in the second half and helping Steph out, helping his team out, and playing a fantastic game, giving him the defense, the energy they needed, because they did start the second half trailing, and they had to turn this thing around, and they did, and they thankfully did. So props to Guy Santos. You're going to see a lot of these young players, these inexperienced players, thriving with the addition of Jimmy Butler. And Guy, his final stat line for tonight, because again, I want to give him his flowers, because chances are the box score, I haven't even looked at it yet until I'm just going to read this right now, may or may not reflect his overall contributions, but make no mistake, Guy was huge in this game in terms of his performance on both sides of the ball. Guy Santos played 14 minutes, 41 seconds tonight, 7 points. Maybe the 8 rebounds were more important. Also, a perfect No, not perfect. I apologize. But he was also 1 of 2 shooting from beyond the arc. I thought he made more than 1 3. I could have swore he hit at least 2. But anyways, that's what the box score is telling me right now. Key Santos, kudos to you for a great performance. And it goes beyond there. Quinton, there's a lot of stats I got to read for you because there were a lot of fantastic performances in this game tonight. Quinton Post played great basketball. Quinton Post was matched up with Nikola Vucevic, a player the Warriors reportedly were trying to pursue in a trade. And Post made Dub Nation breathe a sigh of relief that they did not make the move for Nikola Vucevic, because Quinton Post tonight was doing exactly what you would hope and expect from a player much older and more experienced than Vucevic. Quinton Post tonight played 20 minutes, 28 seconds. There were moments where his defense was a little, I don't know if lackluster is the right word, but the inexperience was showing in terms of his defense still being an issue from time to time. His foot speed is not quite there to defend the quicker, younger wings and guards in this game. But when he's raining threes like he's doing tonight, that makes up for the defensive deficiencies. Quinton Post scored in this game. Jeez, I thought it was reading a 10. 18 points in this game. He was 4 of 7 shooting from 3, added 3 rebounds, added 2 assists, added a block. So Quinton Post starting to thrive in the Jimmy Butler era, because again, when you have more than one superstar scorer on your team, it opens the entire court up for your team. And it wasn't just Quinton Post who was reveling in this. Buddy Hield, he's getting open looks now because defenses can no longer just square up on Stephen Curry. Now their eyes have to constantly look around to see where Jimmy is. Otherwise, he's going to burn you. And Buddy Hield was getting open looks. Hield was 4 of 9 from deep. That dude scored 14 points tonight. I also love the defense he's playing. I love the energy he's bringing as a wing in terms of staying in front of opposing offensive players, in terms of making right passes. His game has started to turn around the last few, I've noticed, but tonight was an excellent performance from him. And then Brandon Podziemski was second on the team in net rating with a plus 26. He was making some clutch baskets, making some clutch plays on both sides of the ball. Podziemski shot 7 of 11 from the field tonight, 2 of 5 shooting from beyond the arc, 7 assists in this game, 5 rebounds in this game, a plus 26 in net rating, 16 points in terms of production from Brandon Podziemski. Great game from him. Draymond Green, another example of a player whose contributions don't necessarily reflect what they did in the box score, right? And Draymond has typically been that way. Tonight, he played 32 minutes, 16 seconds. If you watched his block, I think it was a Josh Giddey that he got that big block on. I forgot who it was, but he had a clutch block in the second half of this game on a shot that I didn't think anyone was going to get to. It was a 3-point shot, if I'm not mistaken. His defense was on fire. He led the Warriors in net rating tonight with a plus 27. So while he only had 6 points, while he only had 4 rebounds, 7 assists, that's good. He was tied for the team lead in that category with Brandon Podziemski. He did have 3 steals. He did have 2 blocks, and Draymond Green was anchoring that defense tonight, playing some fantastic basketball on both sides of the ball. The Warriors went from being down by 24 in this game to playing garbage time minutes. That's how this thing flipped. The Golden State Warriors victorious tonight, 132-111. You're damn right I'm feeling good. Let's get some people on the show if they want to join. It's entirely your call. But I'd love to get some feedback, some perspective from other individuals in terms of the Jimmy Butler experience. We're officially 1 game in. I'm all in. I'm loving this. How are you folks feeling tonight? Richard Sarbog writing, I was sick for a second, though, and I'm guessing you're referring to the second quarter, which was a disaster for the Warriors tonight. They got outscored in that second quarter. Hold on, let me pull the stat because, right, 38-21. I mentioned that earlier. Again, the Bulls pulled off a 22-2 run on the Golden State Warriors as the first quarter ended going into the second quarter. Yeah, it was a little sketchy for a little bit there. But again, when a team is shooting over 50% from 3 and hitting pretty much everything that they're hucking up there isn't much you could do. The Warriors weathered that storm, and they came back. And let's go to our chat. We're going to start with Julian. Program.
Hey, how you doing?
Jimmy Butler experience, brother.
Yeah. I got so much to talk about, but I'm happy that we have a solid guy that can draw double teams. And
yes,
what pisses me off, and I was like so angry before I got on the show, is that the people, whether they're YouTubers or in the chat, they're saying that Wiggins and Butler, they're similar, they're about the same, they have the same impact. No, Jimmy Butler's on a down year where he's not even trying. His 17 points per game is not the same as Wiggins' 17 points per game. And you saw
again, you said it best, Julian. This year, Jimmy Butler was not checked in with the Heat at all, man. Like, that was not a player even pretending that he was trying. So do not read into the stats of Jimmy Butler this season with Miami, man. That is worthless. Go ahead,
but even his weak stats, he shoots 10% better from the field. This year we're talking about 10% better. He has more than double the assists, more rebounds, shoots better from the free throw line. And that's just him just dogging it and waiting to get traded. And so first, and I've been on the show before, one thing I hate about Wiggins is apparently he has a 44-inch vertical, the same as LeBron James, but he can't dunk the ball. The first play of the game, we see Jimmy Butler being thrown an alley-oop from near the three-point line. That was very encouraging to see. And throughout the game, I know people say, it's just the Bulls. We're down 24. But he started off very timid. You could tell, like, hey, I want to get people involved. I'm just going to stand over here.
With the exception, Julian, exception of that, the very first bucket he scored for the Warriors, that alley-oop, right? Yeah. That was a damn good first bucket for as a member of the Warriors. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No. So I'm saying, like, you saw the evolution in the game. And the part where, and I've said this before, Draymond and Steph, they're great players. They're part of the championship team. But they make the silliest passes, and they don't know how to control themselves. And Butler, you see his efficiency. They said it in the game. For most of his seasons, he only has 1 turnover per game, averaging over 5 assists. And he's 7 for 12, 11 for 13, and you feel confident when he's at the free throw line. When Wiggins is at the free throw line, it's always you're crossing your fingers like maybe not. And this time you feel confident. But go ahead. I don't want to take up your entire show.
No, you're good, man. No, you nailed it. Anything else, man? I have nothing to say to reply to you. You nailed it.
And I think people don't understand because maybe they don't watch other games. Like if you're a fan of a team, you don't pay attention to around the league. Some people are saying, Wiggins is our most consistent player or he's our best player. I'm like, if he's your second or third best player, or if he's your most consistent, you have a problem. And you're not going to be a championship team. The impact that Jimmy had, you can see that it's not that he doesn't flop out there. He puts his body, kind of like Brandon Podziemski, in a position where he's going to get fouled. So whether it's coming off the screen, putting himself in between him and Steph Curry, catching the ball and going over the angle towards the body instead of leaning away like Wiggins does. And one thing that, and I know I'm really narrowing down on Wiggins, but that's just because people are so, oh my God, we can't do this trade because they're the same people. No, one thing about Wiggins is that he constantly needs encouragement from other people on the bench. You make $25 million a year. You're 30 years old. You're not a child. You don't need people to tell you, oh, hey, you're good. Oh, hey, you can do better. They're always like, we're always trying to encourage him. We're always trying to encourage him. No, you're a grown man. And I think they're crying in the locker room because, I've been in situations, I worked in jobs and stuff. There's people that are genuinely good-hearted, but they're not good at the job. And it's hard to let them go because they're good people. I think Wiggins, he's a spiritual man. He probably was very close to his family. And you build that emotional relationship, but he's not going to win you a game. And I think his numbers are just because he's floating around out there, but he has no impact. They're empty stats. How many people in the league, when you give them 30 minutes with Steph Curry and Draymond Green, they'll get you 18, 17 points per game. Plenty of them. But
dude, I think you came in here and you were on fire tonight, dude. Julian, you nailed it. Any final thoughts?
I would say there's Post. I like what I saw for him today because I saw his G League highlights. He has that push shot, and he wasn't doing that earlier because it's just I'm going to spot up, take a three. Because Steve Curry's telling people like, hey, don't take an open shot. Find Steph Curry in those spin arounds. And I think that's been one of our biggest problems is that you're so focused on a Steph Curry offense that you don't let others feel free. So just like Chris Paul, Steve Kerr never told anything to Chris Paul. He's like, Chris Paul, do your thing, because he has respect for his resume. Same thing with Jimmy Butler. You're not going to tell Jimmy Butler not to do his thing because you have respect for his resume. And I wrote in the chat, I think the person that's going to benefit the most from this is Jonathan Kuminga, because I think Jonathan Kuminga is a more athletic, at least like the body build, than Jimmy. Jimmy has a mindset, so he has 2 years to tell him, like, hey, these are the angles, this is how your aggression, because Steve Kerr was trying to take that mid-range game out of Kuminga. I'm like, if that's Kuminga's game, then let him get to his spots and get fouled, hit those free throw jumpers, and then you start opening up this floor for Steph. But if we get into games and everyone's focused on, oh, this is their game plan, Steph, that's why you see Steph only averaging 23 points per game, getting fouled, his knees are bad because he's getting bumped and hit the whole time. He doesn't have help on the floor, or he didn't, and he didn't have help from his coach mentally, which is, I need to figure out how to make this offense more than just Steph Curry. And now we have someone that is going to force some way to make that happen. So,
Julian, you said everything. We're done. Good night, everybody. I'm kidding. But that was fantastic. You nailed it. Yeah. I have nothing to add because I agree with literally everything you said. So Julian, bravo, man. Look, I will add this, not to disagree, but just to add on to your points. Nostalgia, holding on to things, being stubborn and resistant to change. These are all flaws of human nature, but they are part of human nature, right? Mm-hmm. And again, if you're a self-aware individual, you try to catch yourself in these things so you don't fall into the traps, right? And we all do it. It took me I was probably close to 40 years of my life to feel like a mature human being, right? Where I try to pay attention and not do these, fall into these trappings of human nature. And the Wiggins thing's a prime example of that, right? Like, this was a fundamental piece of the Golden State Warriors. He was a huge part of that 2022 title team. And even though he's been doing jack shit for 2.5 years, bailing on the team for whatever reasons, I don't doubt his dad's health was a part of that, but there were other things going on too. And again, we all are going to lose our parents at some point in our lives. It's a tragedy that sadly, unless it's even a worst case scenario where you lose a child, you're going to have to experience that. It sucks. It's one of the worst parts of life. But most of us don't get to have 2 years off because of it. And that was hurting the team. So with all that said, you have a lot of fans who, again, they're emotionally attached to this. Wiggins was a part of it. I get it. Again, I've had my fair share of wars with people talking about why they need to move on from Wiggins and that he wasn't going to be a piece that would lead this team to anywhere glorious like Jimmy Butler can. So I get it. Doesn't mean I'm cool with it or that I like it, but I get it. And Julian, you can rest assured you were right. Bravo.
Appreciate it.
Bravo. I got a lot of other people waiting. Do you mind if I bail? Are you all good?
Do your thing. I would just say lastly, we are better today. I hope that a miracle buyout option, because I still don't trust Kerr with Buddy Hield at the two spot. So that's great all call. I'll say. I'll let you get to your other people.
No, that's a great call, Julian. And thank you so much, brother. And just on that note, as we welcome in the Red E. Leezy, Julian, you nailed it, dude. Thank you. I tweeted this, but I haven't brought this up on the show yet today. It's a very important piece of information. Jimmy Butler waived his trade bonus. What that means is Jimmy Butler's trade bonus was going to give him $300-something thousand. Anthony Davis had a similar stipulation in his contract where if he got traded, he was entitled to a bonus, right? And a lot of players have this in their contract where they're rewarded with a financial compensation for being moved. Jimmy Butler waived that, and it's clutch for this reason. The Warriors right now have to fill 3 roster spots, or they did when they made the trade. Quinn Post solved one of those holes. The Warriors, Shams Charania reported this, offered Quentin Post a guaranteed deal. He's now a member of the Golden State Warriors for the rest of the season. He's eligible to play in the postseason. So the Warriors have 12 players under contract. They have 2 holes. Now, the NBA allows every NBA team a window of games or days. I think it's 28 days out of the NBA calendar year where you're allowed to fall below that 14-player threshold for a roster. You're supposed to have a minimum of 14, a maximum of 15, but for 28 days, you can dip below that 14-player margin. And so the Warriors have 12 players under contract right now, for example, and they're going to milk those 28 days, or maybe it's 14 days. There's so much nuance to all this. Please forgive me if I get these specific numbers wrong at any point. It's either 14 or 28. I'm pretty certain it's 28. My point is, in terms of the salary cap falling below it and why Jimmy Butler waiving that trade bonus is so important. Before Jimmy Butler did that, and before the news was released by Bobby Marks, and again, I retweeted what Marks had originally added and added some information to that. Now we're talking about it on the show. I did this on Threads as well. So the Warriors, before Jimmy Butler waived that trade bonus, were in this position where the only way they were going to make the rest of the season work was by a lot of 10-day contracts. Like they had to go days falling below the 14. They'd offer 10-day contracts, offer end of season contracts. Like it was going to be a lot of maneuvering just to fall, I think, like 30,000 below the cap when all said and done. With Jimmy Butler waiving his trade bonus, the Warriors now can sign a player from the buyout market. They can just sign someone for the veteran minimum without these tricky little maneuvers of 10-day deals, and they can give a guaranteed contract to a second player, I think, as of February 17th. So what this likely means is that Kevin Knox will probably get a guaranteed deal. I don't know for certain. I'm just, doing my best to predict what's going to happen here. Most likely, Kevin Knox will get one of those two guaranteed deals. But maybe more importantly, the Warriors can be in the market for a buyout player. And we will not do this tonight. Maybe I'll save it for Monday when Sophia Jones will join me for Warriors. And who are they playing next after this? They next play the Milwaukee Bucks Monday night in Milwaukee. Maybe we'll do that show then, or maybe I'll save it for an episode all to itself early next week. I'm not going to do a show tomorrow because the Super Bowl is not something I'm going to compete against. But the point is, the Warriors can be active in the buyout market. We already, if you haven't heard, Ben Simmons was the first big ball to drop there in terms of the buyout market. He's now a member of the LA Clippers. There are some players out there who the Warriors could look at. Bruce Brown is one of the prime examples, and they're eligible. So you can thank Jimmy Butler for that, because if he didn't have to waive that trade bonus, that was a voluntary thing. But because he did, the Warriors can fill their roster with 2 more guaranteed spots, and that includes a player off the buyout market. We'll talk about that more in terms of who those players could be and what the Warriors maybe will do. Kevin Dan is going to join the show as well, and he can enlighten all of us on how Kevin Knox has been doing with Santa Cruz. But that is even more good news, Dub Nation. Hooah! A lot can happen in NBA season. I've talked a lot. Real E. Leezy. Thank you for letting me speak, sir. Floor is yours.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, man. I didn't know there was a lot of Warrior fans, man, like that. I thought I was like one of the few who got, like, do a lot of Warriors commentary. But I appreciate what you're doing and salute to you.
Thank you, man. Thank you for being here, dude. Like, I can't do this if you're not here. So thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm going to support now that I know.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
And everybody like, share, subscribe, and donate to what this man is doing, man.
Thanks, brother.
How
are you feeling about tonight, dude? This was a big win, and we're at a big moment in this path, this journey that is Warriors basketball, brother. How are you feeling?
I'm one of the bigger. Jimmy Butler is one of my favorite players. Like,
Same.
You know what I'm saying? So I watched him at Marquette, so I know everything about him because he comes from humble beginnings. He wasn't a player that you would look at and be like, oh, man, this is one of the greatest players. He worked his way up to the level that he's at now. And I appreciate players who take that type of path towards stardom and becoming a superstar. He took Miami with garbage teams to 2 NBA finals, and he didn't have another star with him to get him over the hump. And it's like that sometimes. He ran up against, the Lakers, who had 2 all of top 75 players. And then you get another team in Denver who had MVP and Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray playing out of his mind. So, but I love, to add to your point, what he did by waiving that bonus. It gave us flexibility for the buyout market.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I would have loved us to get a Ben Simmons. I don't really care for Ben Simmons, but for what Ben Simmons can bring for our team and how we run our offense, he's another facilitator. Because we know that Draymond Green is the primary role, but Ben Simmons is bigger. He's more agile, faster. He can get rebounds. He can push the break. He's a great passer, and he's a good defender. And we can use that right now because we're undersized at the 2-guard spot. You know what I'm saying? Or that small forward. Draymond Green is an undersized 4. 5. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's only about 6'5", 6'6", with a 7-foot wingspan, and he's guarding centers. That's a lot of wear and tear on our best defensive players. So I thought that, the buyout market could be huge for us. But moving forward, I love what Jimmy brings because Julian said everything that I was going to say. I don't even think I can say it.
I know he was awesome. Julian, bravo, man. Bravo, Julian.
Bravo, Julian. Much love. But I'm just going to add on top of what he said. I'm going to kind of repeat some of the same sentiments, but Jimmy Butler is going to be the perfect veteran for Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga is a hybrid between Jimmy Butler and a young Kawhi Leonard. Not a Hall of Fame Kawhi Leonard, but a young San Antonio Spurs Kawhi Leonard. He's a hybrid, super athletic, 6'7", can match up with anybody, but he just needs someone that can kind of teach him the ropes and how to get to his spots and pick his spots better, because a lot of times you'll see him try to handle the ball and put his arms and draw fouls, and the refs don't give him calls because you have to earn those stripes. You can't just go in there thinking that the refs are going to bail you out. You have to be stronger with the ball, get to your spots, and elevate. And with due time and more experience and time on the court, that will come. I love what Jonathan Kuminga was doing prior to him getting injured. He was starting to show the Golden State Warriors organization, like, pay me. I'm worth the money. I'm worth the money. And I remember years ago, Andre Iguodala told everybody that this dude is the next dude. I trust Andre Iguodala. Y'all don't trust Andre Iguodala.
Exactly, dude.
Andre Iguodala. So to that point, Jimmy Butler is perfect for him. And guess what? I'm going to throw some stats out there tonight.
Please.
We out-rebounded Chicago. We out-rebounded them, and we also out-rebounded them on the offensive glass. We had more second chance points.
Just to add to that, just so people can get the actual numbers, the Warriors out-rebounded Chicago tonight, 44-31. They out-rebounded them on the offensive glass, 16-6. And in terms of points in the paint, the Warriors won that battle. And don't mistake this for a second for not having for Jimmy Butler not impacting this statistic. 46-34. The Warriors beat a bigger, longer. The Bulls are a big team, man. Like Josh Giddey at 6'8". Kobe Bryant was like their smallest dude in the court, and he's 6'4", 6'5", and the Warriors beat him in all those categories, brother. So great call.
And last time I checked, thank you for that, putting those stats up, because I'm driving right now, so I don't have those stats. But the last time I checked, we was trying to trade for who? Nikola Vucevic? Nah, I'm cool. I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Quentin Post is essentially the same player, but just younger. It's like, just think about it. So with his growth, with his growth and development, Quentin Post can turn into your Nikola Vucevic if you want to have that high praise on the guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really high on him. He's skilled, and he's been an all-star before, but it's a reason why Orlando traded him. You know what I'm saying? So
did they trade him, or did they just re-sign him? I don't know if there's a difference, but you're right. Orlando just let him go, whatever it was. Yeah.
Okay, they didn't elect to re-sign him and give him a max contract.
Whatever it was, I actually can't remember now. So whatever it is, same point.
You're right. I thought they might have traded him, but you might be right though. No, they did trade him. They traded him for Wendell Carter Jr. Remember?
There you go. All right. Yes. Good call. I apologize then. Okay. We got some other people in the chat real fast before you go, man. Drive safe. Besides, that's not what my point was, but drive safe, please, since you told me you're driving. What were your thoughts on Buddy Hield? And now I know a lot of people think that the Warriors should improve on that. I'm not disagreeing, man. The dude has been a stain for 2 months, but when he's hitting his buckets, he does make an impact. And with Jimmy Butler in the lineup, all of a sudden defenses can't just square up on Steph and Buddy. Now Buddy's getting open looks, and he rewarded the team tonight, 4 of 9 shooting from 3. He actually looked good, dude. What did you think about Buddy, man?
Buddy Hield is going to be an asset to a team that has a structured offense, not centered around just somebody who can attention from the defense, and Jimmy Butler do that. And then especially when Kuminga gets back, that means Steph and Buddy Hield don't have to work so hard to get their open looks. You turn your head for a second, one back screen or one flare screen, wide open, and you can shoot with confidence, and you can shoot in a rhythm. See,
Absolutely.
The
Your
problem
connection
that
is
we have-
fading on me, man. You're cutting out. I'm gonna drop you right now if you don't mind. I hope I'm not. Please don't take that as disrespect, but your connection was faltering. You provided some great content for us tonight. Thank you so much. Plus, I want to get to Chardal. He's waiting. I just don't want to be rude to everyone else who got to who's in line before him. We'll get to you very soon, Chardal. I know the audience is waiting for you, brother. Let's go first to Sachin. Did I pronounce your name right? Please correct me if I'm wrong. How are you doing?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, I mean, you hear me all right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, this game that I just watched, like, I was kind of critical of the Jimmy Butler trade, like, when it first happened.
A lot of
Just
people
'cause,
were. And
yeah,
that's okay.
but, like, after seeing this game, like, I'm gonna just, like, eat my words because the way he played tonight, he didn't even practice with the team. I didn't think he, like, shot around with the team. I think there was something wrong with, like, other players and their physicals and stuff. And they haven't practiced at all, and he looked amazing.
Yeah, just to piggyback, Sachin, what you're talking about here is Jimmy Butler was not cleared to play with the Golden State Warriors until around 3 p.m. this afternoon. I don't know the exact time, but I don't know if it had to do with paperwork or in regards to the physical you're talking about, but something had not processed with the NBA's home offices. And because of that, Jimmy Butler was not technically a member of the Golden State Warriors until, again, this afternoon. So he couldn't practice with the team. But I don't know if you noticed this, Sachin. There was a moment in this game in that third quarter where you saw Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler communicating. And they were having this long conversation, and it had entirely to do with the on-court product. And especially, I'm guessing they were having a discussion about the offense. But you saw them two having this conversation. And then to the end, it's like they both had a light bulb click. I don't know. My point is, I don't know if you saw that, but when those two jive on the court in terms of chemistry, because like you said, they haven't even practiced together yet.
Yeah.
Who knows what the ceiling is on that, man? Like, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry to interrupt you so much.
I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I saw a play like where Dre made, like he made a bad pass. He was trying to make an outlet pass. And then Jimmy Butler goes ahead and like he has that tenacity where he's like, yo, like that's a bad pass. Like you shouldn't do that. And you saw Dre kind of apologize. And that doesn't happen. Like Draymond normally doesn't just, apologize right away. He's not that type of dude. But when Jimmy Butler's on the floor with him, like he has to, respect him. So I thought he played amazing tonight. And I thought Paz played really well tonight as well. I mean, he's hitting his shots, he had a couple layups. His D-cell, like his D-cell is amazing. Like he always does that move. So he played well as well. Post looked amazing. But like that first half kind of pissed me off, like the way they played. I mean, Kobe White was like hitting like insane 3-pointers. Like that was insane. But
well, you know what it was? A lot of it was just the Warriors started the second quarter, and the momentum. The Bulls had the momentum at the end of the first, but it really was that second quarter where the bench just looked lost, and there isn't much you can do when another team is that hot. Like they were on fire, dude. It seemed like Kobe White especially, and that carried over into the third quarter as well in the early part of it. There isn't much you could do other than just literally try and double and triple team. And maybe the team didn't make adjustments fast enough, but I saw what you saw. It was a little concerning. At the same time, man, like you said, Jimmy Butler hasn't even practiced. Like this team, all they're going to do is get better. That is one of the best parts about all this, dude. They haven't even practiced yet. We got people waiting. Any final thoughts before we move on, Sachin?
No, I mean, I think the first call, like most of the points I had, he was great. But I'd say like some buyout options. Like I was looking at Bruce Brown. I don't know if he'll get bought out. I have no idea. But I feel like Bruce Brown would really help this team, like as a 2-guard. Because as much as I love Paz and Buddy, I thought Buddy played fine. Although I don't know why he had 11 shots in the first half. Like that kind of pissed me off. I think he had like 11 shots, and then Steph had like 6. So that like really pissed me off. But they got it together.
Sachin, where in the world are you on this Saturday night, brother? Before we get to MJ and then Chardal and then Aim Assist. That's who's waiting.
No, I'm just I'm actually near LA, like Orange County, that area. So I live over there. But
we're in the OC. The OC is like a huge a swath of land. Like we're in the OC area.
Aliso. I don't know if you.
Oh yeah. All right, you're near the beach, right?
Yeah, near the beach. Yeah, near the beach. Like
good for you, brother. And so you live in OC, but you're a Warriors fan. How did that happen?
I lived in the Bay for like Wow.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you moved down there, but you brought your allegiance with you. Well, tell all those Lakers fans and the 2 or 3 Clippers fans you run into to go F themselves. The Warriors are back.
Yeah,
I think this Warriors team can handle the Lakers. We're going to talk a little bit at the end of the show about Mark Williams not going to the Lakers. That trade got rescinded. We'll talk about that in a little bit. That helps the Warriors because Mark Williams was somebody I was a little worried about in terms of the Lakers with him not being there anymore. Dude, my concern is gone, man. The Nuggets are really the only team that scare me.
Yeah,
who scares you right now in terms of potential obstacles for the Warriors?
I mean, right now, it used to be the Lakers just because it was AD and LeBron, like their size. But now they've moved AD. Like the mass could be kind of a problem, maybe because they got Gafford, they got AD.
Yeah,
in there. Although AD got injured today. Yeah. No, that's
AD got hurt again today.
Yeah,
I'm going to get to MJ Sachin. Enjoy your night in Southern California, brother. Tell all those Lakers and the 1 or 2 Clippers fans you meet, again, they can kiss your ass. Your team's better.
Thanks for having me.
The Warriors are the one team that represents the Golden State. So bravo, man. Thank you for coming in, dude. MJ, you're on the program. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Sire?
What's up?
Good, man. I'm first time on. I always watch your show. I found you on your other when you were on the other one.
It's all good. That's all good. Well, I'm glad you're finally coming on, man. What's on your mind tonight?
I just wanted to say, man, I'm happy that Golden State pulled it out. Because I watch a lot of shows and they always talk about they was downplaying the Jimmy Butler trade. It's a good trade, but I don't think it's gonna do much. They the same as they was when Wiggins was here, which I like Wiggins, but I just know Jimmy Butler. I grew up a Chicago Bulls fan, right? But, I do root for the Warriors because I like Steph Curry. I just like the organization, how they do things. So, they like the team I root for outside the Chicago Bulls. So I know Butler from the Derrick Rose time and Mike Dunleavy.
Yeah.
So I know him from that. So I knew he'll be a good fit. I knew he'll be a great player. But I was like, oh, man, I saw the score. I was like, I hope they don't, then people are gonna be like, oh, look, I knew it wasn't gonna be a good trade, but they gotta give it time, man. Let it play out. Everybody has an opinion of what's gonna happen. You don't know what's gonna happen, So
nobody does.
Definitely great to see them.
You're right. Nobody has any clue what's gonna happen, but you're absolutely. And look, Jimmy Butler, like Rick Barry and I did one episode a couple years ago. We dedicated to what's called the price of admission list. It was a show where we literally ranked every NBA player in terms of like their league pass value, not necessarily their actual skill sets or the production that they produce in terms of statistics. We were all about like who's the most entertaining. And this was, I think, back in 2021, like Zion Williams was like one of the top players on the list. Like for me, I know this sounds crazy to a lot of people, and we Warriors players were not allowed to be on the list, right? Because Stephen Curry is a clear number one. I had Jimmy Butler first. I love watching this dude play, man. Like he's to me is one of the closest things we have to MJ from the 90s, which I know is a weird thing to say because Jimmy Butler doesn't produce the same amount of points. The 3-point, even though MJ was not a 3-point shooter either, but Jimmy Butler is not known for his outside shooting necessarily, even though he's not bad at it. But he's got that dog mentality in him. I saw June Adolfo in the chat say that Jimmy Butler is no dog; he's a pit bull. You're damn right, dude. And I just, dude, his style is beautiful to me, dude. Like I can't express how happy I am that he's a member of the Warriors. I'm giddy about it, brother. Right. And the fact that you watched him play since that many years ago. Right. At 35, does Jimmy Butler is he still as good as he was then? Like what's your opinion on Jimmy Butler at this point in his career?
I think he's just as good. Obviously, you get older, you slow down a little bit, but I think he's good. He's really good because he's mature, right? He know where he needs to be on the floor. He know what he needs to do. There's really no guessing to his game, And I think I took a little disrespect for Steph Curry, the way they were saying when Jimmy was coming, man, you got Steph Curry, man. I believe that he's still as good as he was. Obviously, he's getting older, he's slowing down, but I think it just came from just not having a great team around him or having, great players when he needs them. Of course, you're not gonna look great because you're forcing things. You're you get frustrated when you can't get a shot off. You got nobody to really pass it to or that you may trust. So you're you know what? I gotta do it myself. So I think you'll see Steph Curry start to come back alive. He has, a new relief on a game because you got somebody that you could count on. You could say, "Yo, look, I'm not having a good game, but Jimmy could take over."
Yep. The pressure has been lifted in a lot of ways, dude. And again, Stephen Curry, that 24-point third quarter, 34 points in this game, no coincidence, dude. Like I know he was a man on a mission in that third quarter, but having a second star alongside him, it just kills me that we've had to wait this long to see Steph get some help. But look, better late than never. And I'm excited for what's to come, man. Any final thoughts before we get to the man, the myth, the legend? That is Sharp.
I did have one thing I wanted to say. I know a lot of people didn't really like slow-mo. I'm from Jersey. I actually followed slow-mo. I know his family. I followed him through the draft. When he got drafted, when he had his draft party, I filmed it. And
you filmed it? What do you mean by that? Like you were there?
Yeah. I do documentary stuff and things like that. So I'm cool with his family. So I know him from high school. I mean, he played at St. Anthony's in Jersey City where I grew up at. So I know a lot of the kids that played down there for Coach Hurley, who's a Hall of Fame coach, Bob Hurley Sr. And I knew he was going to, I was hoping when he got drafted by the Spurs, he was like, I was hoping one day he'll play for the Warriors because I felt like he'd be perfect for them because he's tall. He's played point guard almost his whole life, And I'm like, he's smart. And he just didn't play. And I was like, man, that's crazy that Steve Kerr didn't play him.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Last thing I want to say is, I sent you something on Instagram. Coach Spo was talking about Kyle Anderson, about getting him. And he was like, he's so smart. He's such a cerebral player. Like, he's going to do things that I need. I watched him through college, coming out of college. So I was like, man, how Coach Kerr couldn't see that. But, it is what it is. He's gone. And, I'm still rooting for the Warriors, man.
No, and look, there's people in the chat, for example, asking, like, why am I not more adamant about Steve Kerr and, yelling to, for the team to fire him. It's just, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. If you're new to the show, I'll summarize it in 3 seconds. I'm not a big fan of Steve Kerr, the personnel decision maker. I think he's a great coach in terms of schemes, especially the offense, man. The offensive scheme is fantastic. He's good enough to coach team defense, but when it comes to judging personnel, he's awful. He's terrible at it. I mean, the Buddy Hield starts for all these games makes no damn sense. Right. What you bring up with Kyle Anderson makes no damn sense. He was getting DNPs left and right for the Warriors when they desperately needed him. So and the Dennis Schroeder trade, that was a Steve Kerr production. The good news about that is that was the final straw for Joe Lacob. And he finally said, enough. I'm taking control again of this. Or Mike Dunleavy Jr. Again, Jimmy Butler's a Mike Dunleavy Jr. guy. So kudos to Mike Dunleavy Jr. That was his call. His guy, they got him, and so far it's only one game. I get it, but you folks, if you watch basketball, that one game is all you needed to see to understand the impact of Jimmy Butler on your team. But yeah, the Kyle Anderson part of it, I did not understand, and the Steve Kerr part of it in terms of his job. Just to finish up, I just don't want to beat a dead horse. He's not going to get fired, at least not this season. So what's the point of griping about it? Right. People bring up that Jim Park guy. Look. Yes, he's screaming for Steve Kerr to get fired. Great. But the guy also that guy also hates Jonathan Kuminga, and he says a lot of weird ass shit when it comes to the Warriors and life in general on his Twitter account. So with all that said, look, I agree. Steve Kerr does a lot of dumbfounding things when it comes to personnel. But what are we going to do? I mean, he's not going to get fired this year, so I'm not going to sit here and waste time screaming about that, So anyways, any final thoughts, MJ?
No, thank you for having me on. Keep up the great work. I really enjoy it, and
thank you, brother. Thank you.
I look forward to watching.
Real quick before you go, you said you're a documentarian. How can people find your work? Like, if they want to see it.
Mo5 Films on YouTube. I have a lot of old stuff up there. I haven't put any new things up there, but I do have a lot of stuff. And actually, Johnny Kuminga played at one of the high schools in Jersey. Where I used to film at there. Kyrie went there, Michael Gilchrist went there, Nick Richards went there. All those guys from Jersey. I know Carl Anthony Towns. All of those guys I used to film in Jersey in high school.
I know Jersey and New York are different, obviously, but do you go to New York and film at Rutgers?
I haven't filmed. I've been to the Rutgers. I did a Reebok event there, but I haven't filmed any street ball out there now.
Well, stay in touch with me if you ever do work that I can promote for you, man. I want to see Jonathan Kuminga at Rutgers. I brought that up because I feel like that's He would shine, man. That place would erupt
Yeah.
if Jonathan Kuminga showed up. But do stay in touch with me, man. I'll happily promote your work, and thank you for the kind words and everything, brother. And great night for Dub Nation, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
And oh shit, I didn't mean to cut him off like that. All right, folks. I don't have a drum roll, otherwise I'd do it, because this man he's a superstar. He's a bigger star than me. I mean, look, if Chardal wasn't coming on the show, I don't know if we'd make it, dude. I don't know if I'd survive without your support, Chardal. Are you still in Cabo? What were your thoughts on the Jimmy Butler experience? Great to see you, man.
I'm back from Cabo.
All right. So now you can be louder and energetic again, right?
I had a fun time in Cabo. This was a thrilling victory for the Warriors. They got the win by a score of 130-111 over the Chicago Bulls. Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler were absolutely phenomenal. They combined for 59 points. I think they're a great duo. I think Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler, they work so well together. They meld with each other so well. And I really like those two. I mean, like, when we got Jimmy Butler, I was ecstatic. Like, I was absolutely ecstatic when we got Jimmy Butler from the Heat. I was like, man, we got a star in the making by getting Jimmy Butler. I mean, that was the best trade, hands down. That was one of the best trades that the Warriors have made. And Sai, I think you're muted. I can't hear you. Hey, Sai, I think you're muted.
I was. You're right. Sorry about that. I was just saying that I'm happy. That's all I was saying. Go ahead, brother. Floor is yours. Sorry.
So I had a great time in Cabo. I did a lot of fun activities in Cabo. I was spending time in the pool. I was in the pool all day of my stay. I also did some other fun activities over there. I did we went ATV riding.
That is fun on the dunes.
On the dunes.
Love it.
I also went to an escape room
in Mexico. Congratulations on escaping.
I've never done an escape room before.
I've never done one either.
It's basically like you have 60 minutes, and then you have to find clues and puzzles, and then you have to escape the room in under a minute. And
was that fun for you?
It was fun for me. Like, it was my first escape room. But I mean, what were your thoughts on the win? Like, is this like, if the were you impressed by the victory?
Look, the Warriors, when you look at the Warriors trailed by 24 points. I'm not going to lie, man. Like, there was a part of me in that second quarter thinking, God damn it. You know, I wasn't worried. Like, to me, it was like, okay, the Bulls are on fire. You know, it's Jimmy's first game. And then the second half, we saw, you know, what could be. I also was thrilled that the Warriors actually had a good start. I was doing my research on some of the games recently in terms of how poorly they've started. And I was looking at deficits of like 20-2, 18-4. Like they were getting their asses kicked to start so many games lately, largely because Andrew Wiggins is not a power forward. And that's where Steve Kerr kept starting him. So they had a good start tonight. They outscored the Bulls 34-31 in the first quarter. That second half was unbelievable. Dude, they had garbage time tonight. Yeah, I'm happy, man. I just dropped a hella. That's Bay Area style, dude. I haven't said that word in like 20 years. That's how giddy I am, man. Are you happy?
I'm really happy because Steph, out of the two, Steph Curry had the dominant performance over Butler. I think they both are good, but I think Curry just leads the charge every time. Like, he's scoring more than 30 points every single game he plays. That's phenomenal. I always love to see Stephen Curry go off. Like, like Stephen Curry doesn't normally go off, but today he went off. Like, he literally went off today.
He did. Like,
it was a good performance by him. But this win definitely is nostalgic for all Warrior fans who were actually in Chicago at the United Center, the house that Michael Jordan built, who's, by the way, is the GOAT. LeBron's not the GOAT. MJ's the GOAT of all time. attack me for that. I think MJ.
No. I'm not attacking you for that.
No. If the chat says that LeBron's the GOAT, I'm saying like MJ is the GOAT all day. I don't care about LeBron. MJ is the GOAT. Hands
Sure,
down.
all. How do you feel about Coast to Coast? By the way, Coast to Coast, I owe you a free comment because I know you dropped that $5 last show and I forgot to get to you, man, which is my bad. I apologize. So repeat whatever you want to say. I also want to give some folks who elsewhere in the chat. I mentioned Chris Wood dropping some New Zealand ducats, if I have the currency correct, saying what a turnaround. Jimmy Butler, so far so good. Niner MMA86 dropping 199 saying Jimmy Butler is a perfect fit and the Jimmy B era is here. Billy DeBono dropping $4.99 saying I'm shameless to say I got straight up emotional during the furious third quarter comeback. The Dubs have found a solution to 3 seasons worth of problems. Very well said. Gerdal, what are your thoughts on that?
I think you're the hardest working man on YouTube. Like you're the hardest working man, and you make all this content. And I love watching all your content. I love tuning into your show every single night after a Warriors win. You keep it up. Keep
not
up
when they lose, though, right?
Not when they lose. When they win, you could clearly see how my emotions currently change when the Warriors get a victory.
I hear you, dude. It's easy to get grumpy when the Warriors aren't winning. So, no, that was a fantastic win. There's other people waiting, Shardal. Any final thoughts, brother, before we go?
My final thoughts are, I love your show. I love all your content and videos. Make sure to click that like button, smash that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell so you're updated next time Cy posts another live video. Because this guy makes some really great content, and you surely don't want to miss out.
I'm trying.
Follow the page Golden Days in reference to the Matthew McConaughey Stoner movie. He makes some great content. That's my favorite. That's my favorite movie, Days and Confused. I love that movie.
It's such a good movie.
It's such a great movie, and I love everything you do on the channel, and I'll make sure to join you next time.
Thank you.
I know you have other callers to get to, so I don't want to keep.
Dude, it's packed. I'm gonna go 2 at a time moving forward, so we squeeze everyone in. Thank you. I'm glad you're
waiting too. I don't want to keep you waiting too long because I know you have other great callers to get to. It's a big show. But I'll see you next time.
Sounds good,
and hopefully we get another Warriors win. Hopefully make it 2 in a row.
I hope so too. And welcome back. People were worried about you because when you're in Cabo, your energy levels dipped. You were like the stock market in one of its worst days, and people thought you were depressed. It turns out you were just being quiet. You were just you did not want to disturb whoever you were with. So we're glad you're back. We're glad you had fun.
It's great
glad
coming on the
show. And
Warriors. And I'll see you next time.
Sounds good, Shardal.
You're a great professor at San Jose State University,
Thank you.
and you're also a great host on Golden Days.
Thank you, brother. And you are great, period, at everything you do, man. Thank you, Shardal. I love you, man.
I hope to see you around, brother, and keep it rocking.
Sounds good, man. Thanks, Shardal. He's the best. Let's go. I'm going to go 2 at a time here, if you folks don't mind, because I have 4 people waiting, and I don't like making people wait, dude. It's not my goal here. So let's get to Aim, Assist, and Manny. Manny's joining us. I always mix you up with someone else. Are you in Orlando?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I got it. All right. And Aim Assist, where are you in the world?
Hello.
What's up, man? Where in the world are you?
Louisiana.
Where in Louisiana? I love that state.
I'm in Bossier right now.
Okay. All right. You were on before Manny, so Aim Assist will start with you. What's on your mind, brother?
Man, I don't ever want to see that Pat Spencer is better than Pods again. That's the most casual take ever. And by the way, just to your chat, I don't ever want to see that Jonathan Kuminga is worse than Kyle Kuzma. That's a casual take. I don't know why they said that. But I think this was a great win tonight.
Were very irrational, yes.
Facts. I think this was a great win tonight. I think it showed that Jimmy Butler is a way better playmaker than Wiggins, and he can actually impact the game. And he isn't scared to, drive to the paint and actually dunk the ball. So I think this was a great win, and I want to see it more.
And that's no slight on Wiggins, dude. In a perfect world, you have Wiggins and Butler on the team together, although that didn't work out in Minnesota. But look, they're on a whole different levels, dude. Jimmy Butler is a future Hall of Famer. Jimmy Butler carried a team on his back to 2 NBA finals. Andrew Wiggins has one All-Star appearance. He helped the Warriors win the title in 2022. Forever grateful for that. But they're just two entirely different players, man. Manny, what are your thoughts on what Amos Sister said? And how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. So I was getting out of church whenever the game was going, and it was the second quarter. So I kind of just put my phone down, and every time something good was happening, I was getting questions by everybody, especially the pastor, like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "My team's winning. Like, what is wrong with you? Why are you not watching it?" But on what he said, man, there's it's nothing on Wiggins, man. The time that he spent, he did what he had to do, but it's like, for me, it's like the MJ and LeBron debate. You know, there could be both great players, but LeBron will never have the dog that MJ had, and that's the difference with Wiggins and Butler. Butler has this like intimidating factor to where when he is there, his presence shines. You know, the other team is paying attention to him. Another thing that I noticed is when he drives, he's drawing two defenders towards him, which is then opening up the arc, which is what happened with Buddy Hield, as we were talking. Now Buddy Hield is not having to create, just pass to the next pass, to the next pass, to the best pass. There was that drive that I think he hit it over like underneath the basket to Quentin Post, and Post, he says that, from the top of the key is his favorite spot. Man, that corner looked really good tonight because he was popping.
Did you notice, and aim assist you as well, did you notice how happy Steph looked, especially late in the game? I haven't seen a shit-eating grin on a man's face like that in a long-ass time. Sorry, aim assist, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was saying I noticed that because it takes a lot of pressure off of him when he's coming in with Butler with the second unit, and he doesn't have to really worry about the energy being low from the blowout that they faced early on. With Wiggins and stuff like that.
Was there, like, I haven't seen them laugh like that. It's been a long time, man. Aim assist, what is your first impression of Jimmy Butler, dude, after watching him tonight?
Bro, honestly, he's a way better playmaker than I thought. I'm not gonna lie. I actually didn't know he passed the ball like that. I didn't know I thought he was a selfish player a little bit, but that really amazed me. I didn't think he was that great of a playmaker and passing.
Is it a compliment or an insult when someone like Richard Sarbong says you got that Barry White thing going, dude? Like, something tells me you have no issues with the ladies. I think that's a massive compliment. What's your take on that, aim assist?
Hey, that's a W. Can I say one more thing before I go though?
Of course, yes.
I think we should get Seth Curry because it's kind of hard at the shooting guard position. This is why. So Moody is hard to start him at shooting guard because he can't guard guards. If we're being honest, like he just can't stay in front of other guards. So it's kind of hard.
You bring up no, Amy says, I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but you bring up a really good point, and I think it's worth a few minutes of discussion here. Moses Moody does have lapses defensively. Like, I don't think it's a effort thing. I don't think it's a talent issue. I don't know whether it's him like losing focus and he's trying to defend or trying to monitor other players and other spots in the court. I don't know if he's just having disassociation issues where he's spacing out. And then all of a sudden, like, he missed out on an important play there. But you're right. He sometimes is a step slow. And the reason for that is a mystery. I hope it looks correctable. But I do agree with you that Moses Moody does fail often defensively. And it's an issue. Manny, what's your thought on that?
The inconsistent minutes that he's had this whole entire time throughout his development. And then now that he's getting minutes as the 4. So what he's getting minutes and asked to do is to defend bigger, slower guys. So then now when you try to switch him up onto a guard, it's kind of different because he has to switch everything around. He has to be smoother on his lateral. Maybe even his physical toughness had to change
Yeah.
And he had to gain a little bit more muscle because he has a great wingspan, but now he had to probably put on a more muscle to try to help out, whenever he's trying to guard these fours, which is going to make him slower.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. One biggest thing that I noticed today is we didn't look tiny. Man, we did not look tiny. I didn't see 4 guard lineups. I saw 9 minutes of GP2 playing time because I have to say it. I've been watching it for a couple of days. Buddy Hield has been stepping up on the defense.
Yes.
He definitely has.
I agree.
And although it ain't the best, at least we get some spot up shooting from Buddy Hield, which is a lot more than we're gonna get from Gary Payton. Gary Payton is gonna get an open 3. With that just means that there's someone else now in the paint ready to rebound. So that those 2 things. Also, Quinton Post, man.
Did you do that? Some people have that feature. Like you
It's
just
on
did
the
this.
iPhone.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's an iPhone thing. All right. Yeah. Like someone else did a heart one time, and all of a sudden there were hearts everywhere. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. But Quinton Post, as far as defensively moving, I mean, he can definitely work a little bit more on the paint. If he can develop a hook shot, that's gonna set him apart even more. I understand he's young, but a hook shot on a 7-foot tall guy in the paint, and just a little bit more muscle, more girth as he continues to develop. But all in all, man, I saw smiles. I was hyped. I was ecstatic. I can tell you are. The numbers don't lie. The numbers look great. The fact that we had trash minutes, which means extra time for Steph Curry, for Draymond Green. I just can't wait for Kuminga to get back. From what I'm hearing is that Kuminga's going to slot into the 4 and Draymond's going to come behind. That'll be great. We'll see how it plays out.
Where'd you hear that from?
It's just going through social media. I'm gonna look it back up, and when I do, I'm gonna send you the link on Instagram.
Yeah, send me, please. My guess is when Kuminga comes back, they're gonna roll with this what they were doing before, which is bringing him off the bench, and then you could close with him, but he's gonna anchor the second unit. I could be mistaken on that. That's just what I'm guessing. But so what you've read is that when he comes back, they're gonna start him and
Draymond's gonna Draymond's gonna come. It's gonna come back to then settle it down, which they were doing that for a couple of games, and even Draymond himself has said it that he doesn't mind stepping back for Kuminga. And even though we want to have Kuminga as a 3, now with Jimmy as a 3, then we kind of need him at the 4. He is more athletic. The only thing is, we got to get his defense to where it needs to be. But when I find that reference, I'm going to send it to you so you can have it as well.
Please do. Please do. I did hate that idea before Jimmy Butler, but with Jimmy Butler on the team now, I don't hate it as much. What I don't want to see is Kerr avoiding putting Steph, Butler, Draymond, and Kuminga on the floor together. Whoever that 5th piece is, that depends on matchups, whether it's Quinton Post, whether it's Pajemski, whether it's Buddy Hield, whether it's Moses Moody, whether it's a buyout piece that we haven't seen yet, whether it's Kevin Knox, we haven't seen in the NBA yet, wearing a Warriors uniform, whoever that is, whatever that is, as long as those 4 are on the court together for important clutch minutes, I'm fine with it. That is my fear with Steve Kerr, though, is that we did not see. We don't see Kerr routinely playing the best players on his team, which is bizarre, man. It's borderline, it's criminal almost. It's dumbfounding. Let's hope that doesn't continue to happen. But the good news is I think Kerr's aware that this team is built to win now, and he's got some pressure on him too.
Well,
so
I think that the front office is forcing Kerr to get out of his state of mind where he's stuck on. I think me and you had a conversation one time where it reminds me of the movie Waterboy, to where you had the 2 coaches and the one that stole the notebook, and it just has old plays, and he just had great players the whole entire time with some old plays. He couldn't generate new ones, and he became the champion, right? Just like Steve Kerr did. But then now when the other coach began to start developing new plays, the other coach couldn't outcoach them. And like, for example, Spo, there's other coaches that can outcoach Kerr any point in time.
A lot of them.
The luck that Kerr has had so far is that he has great talent. Right now, guess what? He's back to having great talent. But I see the front office is forcing a coaching development coming from him. And if that continues to grow with the talent, then I mean this couldn't be the perfect time. Because I think if we're tied with Phoenix and Sacramento, so and I know you do the rundown before the end of the show because it's one of the things that you do that I appreciate the most because I get what it looks like. I think we're slotted into the play-in now, if I'm not mistaken, after this win. One position, maybe even two, depending on if we have the tiebreaker with one of the other teams. But it couldn't come at a better time. I'm super happy, super ecstatic, ecstatic about everything. I know your shows are gonna be even better. You're gonna have much to talk about on Monday. I watch all of your shows, even though I'm on the East Coast. It may not be live.
This was day one of what is a really fun ride, dude.
Oh man, I can see your mind. I just see it just going crazy with the next shows, with everything that's coming up, what to talk about. So I'm really excited to continue watching your shows. I'm a faithful supporter, even though I may not watch it live.
I know you are, brother. Thank you.
And comment. I may watch this at 6:00 in the morning the next morning when I'm at work. But I'm here.
No, you're good.
I'm here for you, brother.
Your support is felt. I promise you that, Manny. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for everything that you do, man. Keep it up.
Before you go fast, and Steve A, thank you for waiting. Someone else dropped who was waiting a long time. I feel bad about that. But before you go, I want to have you on here to address this thing and this comment. And and then we just lost that other guy. Okay, never mind. Richard Sarpong in the chat writes, the Warriors need a big, but there was another comment where you brought up the fact that they needs a big here. This one. That the Warriors need a big to stop Jokic. Agreed. Excuse me. But here's where the Warriors are and why I'm not as worried as I was before. What the Warriors have now that they didn't have a year or two ago, besides the obvious in Jimmy Butler, who's not going to guard Jokic. I mean, that's not going to make much of a difference. But what the Warriors do have this year that they did not have the last 2 years is depth at the center position, meaning you can start with Post and just let him hack the shit out of Jokic and get fouled out. Great. Bye. Bring in Looney. Hack the shit out of Jokic. Give him the hardest time imaginable. You fouled out? Okay, great. Bye. Trace Jackson Davis. Foul the shit out of him. Make life difficult for him. If you get fouled, so be it. You fouled out? Bye. Maybe even Kevin Knox can come in. Maybe even Gise. Yeah, exactly. You saved Draymond for those last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Warriors have depth at that position now where they could just throw bodies at Jokic just to make life difficult, man. No one's going to stop that man. But you can't have Draymond defending him for 48 minutes in a game. You can't have him defending him for even like 20. But if you can do it for 5, for those last 5 minutes, you're in a good position, dude. And again, if the Warriors are playing the Nuggets, and your closing 5 is Draymond defending Jokic. You've got, let's say, Kuminga dealing with Aaron Gordon. Then you've got Jimmy Butler, Steph, and then you figure out who that 5th piece is. Again, whether that's Moody, whether that's Buddy Hield, who at a bare minimum is at least still spacing the floor. And again, you see how Buddy Hield looks when there's actually other good players on the team. Like he's suddenly making his shots again. So I'm encouraged. I have some hope, man. What are your thoughts, Manny, before you go?
I mean, that 4-letter word right there needs to be changed. You can't stop Jokic. There's no way of stopping that. You can do what you just talked about. Slow him down. That's all you. That's the best you can do. That's all you need to do. Wear that man down. That's the biggest difference that we have now. In other years where we were champions, we had depth at the center position. Maybe we didn't have the best center in the world, but guess what? We got 6 fouls, 5 fouls each. You're making life tougher. You're slowing him down. You're stopping the momentum. You got to foul him and send him to the free throw line. Then so be it. But that's something that we have. We have, and as long as they play like they played today, where everybody was active. I saw Rowe. I saw Gooey. Remember, it's not Gee no more. It's Gooey.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So Gooey played great tonight, man.
Yeah, I saw everybody going for ball, diving for the ball, jumping, getting up in the air for loose balls. I saw a team that was active and that was happy and was playing with intent, with emotion. Like they really wanted this win, and it didn't look. I'll be honest. Past the second quarter, it didn't look like they were working hard for it. It was
Dude, people were
flowing.
attacking me on social media like, I'm done with the Warriors. I'm not going to watch anymore. I was like,
It was
slow
so
down, relax.
flowing. Like the game was so flowing.
Yeah, it was. Manny, I want to get to other folks who want to jump in.
Of course, man. Of course, man.
Thank you so much, dude. I feel the love, man, and I can't thank you enough, brother.
No, appreciate it, man. Have a good night. God bless you, brother.
You too, brother. Coming to us live from Florida, more specifically Orlando. And look, Richard Sarpong, who just disagrees with me in terms of what I said about throwing bodies at Jokic. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that is going to work. I'm not sitting here pretending that the Warriors have the answer for the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic. What I am saying is at least with the roster they have now, they got a shot. There is hope. Whereas before, I didn't think the Warriors had a chance in hell of beating the Denver Nuggets. Now, I do think there's a shot there. I would prefer a little more improvement so you have a more clear-cut, definitive answer for a front court like a Jokic and Aaron Gordon. But unlike before, I'm a little more hopeful is all I'm trying to say. That doesn't mean that I'm content with the team sitting pat and not doing anything to address the Jokic issue. Let's go to Steve A. You've been waiting a long time. I don't know where you are where it's daytime. Are you like in Australia or New Zealand? I mean, I'm guessing no. Actually, it's dark. Where are you?
I'm in Langkawi Beach, Malaysia.
Jesus Christ. Look at you. Malaysia, man. Are you surfing out there? What are you doing? What's the haps?
I'm on vacation right now. At my job, we have vacation from February to March, so that's quite pleasant. So I'm enjoying the sights and sounds of this lovely island.
Well, the floor is yours, and you're joining us live from a Malaysian beach. That is absolutely incredible. What's on your mind, man? The floor is yours.
I did not see tonight's game because I was at the beach snorkeling, but I wanted to ask you a question about the future of Jonathan Kuminga. He hasn't had the greatest season.
I was snorkeling. I was swimming in the beautiful Indian Ocean. Incredible. Sorry, go ahead. I'll shut up.
So I wanted to ask you a question about what you think he's going to decide to do at the end of the season. If the Warriors perform well and make the playoffs, will he want to stick around, or do you think he'll take a different deal and go elsewhere?
Who?
Jonathan Kuminga.
Well, the Warriors control that. So, no, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think if anything, what the Warriors did this at the trade deadline simply solidifies his position with this team in terms of the future. Now, I did read the report. We haven't talked about it on the show, actually, and Shams Charania reported this, that the Warriors did make an offer to the Phoenix Suns for Kevin Durant that did include Jonathan Kuminga and draft picks and Wiggins and everything else to make that work. Really glad that did not happen. I get it. Look, Kevin Durant is Joe Lacob's his white whale, man. Like, Joe Lacob loves KD. That is his unofficial child, if for lack of better words. So I don't take that as necessarily like, Joe and company and Mike Dunleavy Jr. like not believing in Kuminga still. It's just he loves Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant immediately came out and said, I don't want to come to the Warriors, which is crazy to me. But Joe and company respected his wishes and dropped their pursuit and then reshifted back to Jimmy Butler. With that said, Jonathan Kuminga will be a restricted free agent this offseason, meaning let's say another team gives him an offer and he actually does sign it. The Warriors will have 7 days to match. And they're not going to let him go for nothing. Jonathan Kuminga is the future of this team. He's the president of this team. The good news is, and I'm going to save this for a future show in terms of the salary cap for next season and the Warriors roster construction and where they sit with the collective bargaining agreement. They can keep this team together next year. So no one has to worry about that. Jonathan Kuminga will be a part of this team next year. Don't worry about that. They might end up being a second apron team. My guess is they're going to figure it out in terms of not getting that deep into spending, that high into spending rather. But long story short, he's not going anywhere, man.
But what do you think, how he feels about being on the team? Because obviously it feels like sometimes when he talks to the press, it seems like he's interested in being a full-time starter, or at least, the one, well, maybe not the one position, but like the one player, if you know what I mean.
I do. My response to that is when people come to the Bay Area, they never leave unless they're forced out. They love it here. That includes Jonathan Kuminga. He has no issue with being a member of the Warriors. He has no issue playing for Steve Kerr. Yes, I don't think he's been happy about the way he's been treated in terms of playing time and lack thereof. But he wants to stay. He just wants to get paid, and he wants a bigger role. I think those are the two things he wants. Good news is the bigger role is already here. We saw him play 30-plus minutes a game in December, and I don't see that diminishing anytime soon. And he's going to get paid this offseason. Now, whether it's going to be $30 million a year, whether it's going to be $35 million a year, I don't know. But he's going to get his money. He's going to be happy. I give you a guarantee on that. All right. Like, he's not going anywhere, man. Like, the Warriors did all of this. The trade for Jimmy Butler was designed in large part to not lose Kuminga. And I honestly think that was a steal for the Warriors, dude. They gave up what? Dennis Schroeder, Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, and a 2025 top 10 protected pick. So if this season, let's say, derails, you're not losing a draft pick if it's in the top 10, but in reality, you're in a win now mode, man. You already have your young core for the next generation. Dude, this was a steal of a deal. Kuminga's not going anywhere. You now have Jimmy Butler on your team for the next 2.5 years. I'm ecstatic, dude. And no, Kuminga's not going anywhere there. Look at you. Jesus Christ, you're in Malaysia. Bravo, dude. You go there every year for vacation, or like, what's the story there, man?
No, I usually rotate between a different set of countries during my vacation seasons. I get two.
Do you mind if I ask what profession you're in that gives you like 2 months off every year, so I can explore
college professor in South Korea.
Well, hello, fellow college professor. What do you teach in South Korea?
English conversation and global business, basic stuff, really.
I love it. Well, it seems like you picked a perfect spot for a vacation. Any final thoughts before we get to Cam as we start to wrap up the show here?
Last FOD, it seems like Butler played well today, so let's hope that continues. I shall let you go for now.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining us. And in case you missed the beginning of the show, Jimmy Butler, 25 points in this game. He added 4 assists. Yes, the man passes the ball. Yes, he facilitates an offense. 2 boards as well, added a block, added a steal, was a plus 16 in net rating. The 13 free throw attempts. I think he had 2 plus ones, meaning the man knows how to draw fouls and make buckets. He might have even had 3 of those, actually. But so, yeah, Jimmy Butler had a fantastic game. We got folks joining us from Malaysian beaches. What a night we're having here. Last guest of the evening. Let's go to Cam, man. Did I get your name right? And how are you doing? Cam, are you there? I guess you're not. All right. I'll leave you up for a second. All right. So just in case you come back, just start talking. I'll bring you on. We'll have a good time. You stay right there. Let's go around the NBA scoreboard. If there's no other topics for the evening, Richard Sarbong's asking what my academic credentials are. I have a master's degree in mass comm, which is I'm not going to brag about that, I promise, but it does qualify me, I guess, to be a professor. But I don't have a doctorate. I've thought about it, but I don't. All right, let's go around the scoreboard as we wrap it up. I think I got all the paid donations. I think we've talked Warriors extensively tonight. Is there anything left? Have I not exhausted every topic? I want to make sure I did. Otherwise, yeah, let's see what happened in the rest of the NBA tonight. Saturday, February 8th, the day before the Super Bowl. The Jimmy Butler experience is off and running, and the Warriors are once again relevant, and once again, they're damn good. But meanwhile, let's see what other NBA teams are doing, and we're going to wrap it up with the standings. And again, we'll have in the immediate future, we're going to have a show dedicated to the buyout market. We're going to do that very soon because March 1st is the deadline for signing a player off the buyout market or signing a player off waivers, period, and having them eligible for the postseason. So if the Warriors are going to do something in terms of the buyout market, they're going to have approximately 3 weeks to do it. And we'll cover that in extensive detail. I promise you that, because that might be important. That might be what they do with the buyout market could be the final piece of the puzzle to answer the dilemma of, bigger teams like the Nuggets. Like, even though the Mavericks, Anthony Davis got hurt today, and durability has always been an issue with him. Maybe you need size for the Mavericks too. I don't know. We'll cover that, I promise. But for tonight, it's post game. We're in a celebratory mood. The Warriors just beat the Chicago Bulls. That part of it is not what we're celebrating. Jimmy Butler's impact, we are. Stephen Curry and what he can do when he actually has a teammate who's competent. We saw that, and we're happy about that. So good times if you consider yourself a member of Dub Nation after tonight's win over the Chicago Bulls. But elsewhere in the association, and on that note, we need some tunes. Let me get some music here as we start to wrap up the show. There we go. The silence is deafening without the music. I don't know where Damian LaRoche is, one of our OG Golden Dazers, but he's the inspiration, him and Larry Krueger, but he's the inspiration for making the music a regular part of this segment. I don't know where you are tonight, Damian, but you are missed on an evening where we're celebrating the debut of Jimmy Buckets. Wait until the postseason, by the way, folks. That dude has a switch in him that takes him from Corno, I don't know if you know that breed in dogs, but they're badass, to Pitbull, or maybe a gear that switches him from wolf to Pitbull. Regardless, he is a savage beast. All right. Yeah, JK in the chat saying, Jimmy, my savior. I love it. Jimmy Butler is also an intellect. Again, I mentioned this at the beginning of the show, but Tasha, the producer, who is doing a fantastic job behind the scenes. She might come on the show someday, but she's in charge of making all the YouTube shorts for this program, and she might get a merch store launched for us soon. She mentioned to me today that on the Netflix show that, what is it called? The Five? I can't remember what the name of it is. If someone in the chat wants to add an addendum or add some more information, but Jimmy Butler was part of that Netflix docuseries that included Kevin Durant, that included LeBron James, and I guess Jimmy Butler is the focus of that. And she mentioned that that Jimmy Butler is a huge chess player, and again, like, the man's an intellect. The man actually likes to use his brain, and that's a huge thing. So, anyways, yeah, good stuff. Well, Baby Cakes wants to throw the 30-win prediction by Larry Krueger in his face. He's going to respond. I'll just tell you right now. He will respond with, I didn't know Jimmy Butler was going to be on the team, so he might come back at you with that. But you're also absolutely correct. Simon 2 in the chat saying that the Jimmy Butler coffee shop is about to go wild. Yeah, is that even a coffee shop? Does he make a... Yeah, I'm sure we'll learn a lot about that. I have a lot to learn about Jimmy Butler. I don't know much about him, in all honesty. So, yeah. Bamboo Soldier saying Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green equal the Drimmy Dogs. All right. Just checking up on the chat comments real fast here. Let's go around the association. A lot of games on Saturday, February 8th. The Denver Nuggets taking care of business in Phoenix, defeating the Phoenix Suns, a team that is reeling because they're stuck with Bradley Beal. This is the one thing that I don't hear anybody talking about, and they should talk about when it comes to the Phoenix Suns and Bradley Beal. There are consequences for your actions. When you traded for Bradley Beal and gave up the farm for that 6'3" guard who did all of his work, accomplished all of those stats and those numbers on a Washington Wizards team in the Eastern Conference, playing in what, the Atlantic Division, or are they there? I think they're in the Southeast, right? What? It's insane. Accountability exists, and for the Phoenix Suns, you're paying the price for trading for Bradley Beal. You knew he had that no trade clause. I don't know why you delusionally thought you could just get out of that if you want to. Congrats. You voluntarily decided to enter this mess. Now you're in it. Yay. And it's easy to say all that if you're a Warriors fan, but look, no one forced them to trade for Bradley Beal. And now they can't do a damn thing because He's not going anywhere. He doesn't want to go anywhere. There's 2 more years on that contract after the season. And tonight, the Phoenix Suns lost to the Denver Nuggets 122-105. I bring up Bradley Beal because the Suns are screwed. I don't care about that at all because they're the competition. And Phoenix, with that loss, drops to 26-26. The Denver Nuggets improved to 34-19. Nikola Jokic, 36 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists in the win. Bol was the top performer, at least according to ESPN. 19 points, 7 rebounds, 4 blocks in that game. We'll get to the standings in just a moment. The Boston Celtics, this was a big game today. They were at the Garden, Madison Square Garden, more specifically, taking on the New York Knicks, and they easily took care of business, 131-104. The Boston Celtics improving to... Sorry, I can't see the screen well for some reason. 37-16. The New York Knicks, dropping to 34-18. Jason Tatum. If you watch the highlights of this game, there is one dunk. I think it was the first bucket of the game, and Jason Tatum just slammed over the whole team. It was ridiculous. I strongly advise watching that monstrosity of a slam. Jalen Brunson, 36 points in the loss. For the Knicks, again, who drop to 34-18. The Minnesota Timberwolves, 114-98 winners tonight over the red-hot Portland Trailblazers. Jaden McDaniels, 30 points, 10 boards in the win. Anthony Simons, 21 points in the loss for the Timberwolves, who improved to 30-23. What's going on? Why can't I see this? Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, so who improved to 30-23. The Portland Trailblazers dropped to 23-30 in this game. I'm really sorry. My screen is is not the same color, display brightness. Something's going on. I can't see it too well. So please forgive me for fumbling right now. The OKC Thunder, 125-112 winners tonight over the Memphis Grizzlies. Wiggins for OKC was the top performer by ESPN. 26 points, 11 rebounds for Aaron Wiggins, who subtly is having a solid season for OKC. For the Memphis Grizzlies, Desmond Bane, 20 points, 9 rebounds in the loss. The Thunder improved to 40-9. Memphis dropping to 35-17 on the year. The Atlanta Hawks took care of business today in the nation's capital. 125-111 winners over the Washington Harry Potters to improve to 25-28 on the year. Washington drops to 9-43. Trae Young, 35 points, 14 assists in the win. Carrington, 23 points and 7 assists in the loss for the Wizards. Bub Carrington, more specifically. That is really his first name. It's Bub. The Orlando Magic, 112-111 winners tonight over the San Antonio Spurs. Franz Wagner, 33 points, 12 rebounds in the win. Vasily, 25 points in the loss for the San Antonio Spurs. Devin Vassell, I apologize more specifically. So the Spurs drop to 23-28. Wow. And Orlando improves to 26-28. The LA Lakers taking care of business tonight, 124-117 at home against the Indiana Pacers in a nationally televised broadcast that was flexed last minute. The NBA also does that. They sometimes will swap out games for other games for national broadcast. This one included. I don't know if they expected Luka Doncic to play tonight. He did not play. LeBron James did not play either. And yet, despite that, Indiana could not take care of business. Austin Reeves had a huge game, 45 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists in the win. Tyrese Halliburton, 19 points, 9 assists in the loss. The Dallas Mavericks. This was a game where Anthony Davis had a smoking hot first half, but then leaves the game because of a non-contact groin injury, which likely is associated with that abdomen he's having huge issues with all season. But Dallas still comes away with the win, 116-105. Again, Anthony Davis in his debut with the Mavericks, 26 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists. Alperen Şengün, 30 points, 8 rebounds in the loss for Houston. Dallas improves to 28-26. And Houston drops to 33-20. The Rockets are now 4th in the West, incredibly, because of the Denver Nuggets moving up in the standings. 2 games that are still ongoing right now. The Sacramento Kings, the little brothers of the Golden State Warriors. I think this is a fair analogy that the Clippers are to the Lakers as the Kings are to the Warriors. Your thoughts? The Kings are screwed. Side note, they're totally screwed. They're not making the playoffs. They're just done. They're cooked. They at least have some draft capital, so good for them, but they're cooked. And they're leading right now 115-112 over the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion Williamson has 34 points in that game. Domantas Sabonis, 25 points, 12 rebounds. And last but not least, the LA Clippers are at Intuit. The wall is a riot. Bravo to Steve Ballmer for a beautiful arena and a setup that clearly impacts the game. That wall, the other day, I don't know if you folks saw it, but the fans had it's not a sign, it's like a poster set up, and it had LeBron James, and they clipped his hair off. I kid you not. They basically just like made him bald in the middle of the game. Highly recommend checking that out. The fan experience there is incredible. And so those 2 teams are playing right now in LA with the Jazz trailing 95-88. There's about 10 minutes to go in that game. So we look at the standings now. And after the Warriors win tonight over the Chicago Bulls that bring them back to 500, guess what? If the season ended today, they would be a play-in team because they leapfrogged the Sacramento Kings in the standings. The Warriors 26-26. I guess that Sacramento-New Orleans game bears a lot of relevancy there because if Sac wins, they currently own the tiebreaker over the Warriors due to head-to-head matchups. But at the moment, the Warriors are the 10 seed with the win tonight. They're tied with Phoenix, who's also 26-26. Again, if Sacramento wins, there will be a 3-way tie for 9th, I guess, all at 26-26. The Dallas Mavericks are a game and a half ahead of both Golden State and the Phoenix Suns. If I have that right, the Dallas Mavericks 28-25. The LA Clippers 28-23. They're currently the 7th seed. They're 2.5 games ahead of the Warriors. And then the Minnesota Timberwolves are currently the 6th seed. 6 gets you into the playoffs. You don't have to worry about the play-in. And Minnesota currently is 30-23 on the year. So I usually show this. I apologize. Just drop the ball here at the end of the show. My apologies. Let me share my screen here so y'all can see the standings as well if you want to. Give me 1 second here. All right, there we go. And so if you can see that, I don't know how well you can see that, but if you can, and again, hopefully I'm articulating this clearly for the podcast. Again, the Minnesota Timberwolves are currently the 6th seed at 30-23. They're 3.5 games ahead of the Warriors. And then the Houston Rockets are currently the 5 seed at 32-20. So the Warriors are trailing Minnesota for 6, which is the minimal goal in all this, but there's still 30 games remaining in the season. A lot can happen, but the Warriors are sitting outside of that coveted 6th seed, which automatically gets you into the playoffs. You don't have to worry about the play-in, and 3.5 games is what separates the 2 teams there. And OKC way up top, 42-9. I think I said 40 earlier. I apologize for that. 42-9 record for the Thunder. Memphis is currently 2nd at 35-17. The Denver Nuggets 3rd place in the West, 34-19. And then the LA Lakers are 4th at 31-19. So incredibly, LA and Denver are tied in the loss column, but Denver's played 3 more games than them. So all it will take is 1 run by the Golden State Warriors, and they're right back in the thick of things. So, we got someone in the chat real fast. Gary, you're on the program. You're joining us from the Dominican Republic, correct?
That's correct.
Finish up the show. You're our last guest for the evening. How are you doing, brother?
Listen, great. Short and sweet. You're reading the standings. And just 1 run. We have squandered so many games in the last 3 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yes.
If we would just be composed, stop the emotion offense for a moment and just score, just do something different, because our offense is so well known around the league, and keep those games those games are in our pocket. We have given away 10 games minimum in the last 3 minutes. We will be on top of the league. 3 seed.
The Warriors, I believe, have played 31 clutch games tonight. In case you're unfamiliar with that term, clutch means within 5 points with 5 minutes remaining.
The last 5 minutes, yes.
That was not the case tonight. But you're right that they've blown a lot of very close games, and this could have been very different for them. Interesting to note, by the way, Gary, I'm glad you came on the show so I can mention this stat. The Warriors, who are dead last in the NBA in free throw shooting, 23 of 27. From the free throw line tonight. That's 85.2% of your free throws made. The craziest part is, again, 27 free throw attempts. They missed 4 of them. Those 4 misses, 2 of them came from Jimmy Butler, who was 11 of 13. The other 2 came from Stephen Curry, who leads the NBA in free throw shooting at 94% entering tonight's game. He was 6 of 8. So they were great, is what I'm trying to say. And that's not always the case.
And now Kuminga can learn from Jimmy how to get that contact in that penetration, how to get those calls.
Yes,
because there's no one else in the team that has those skill sets that is very well needed. It's not only 3-point shooting, it's also getting the team in foul trouble so that they cannot defend you like they defend. I mean, Jimmy had 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. Now the defense have to be a little bit looser because they're in foul trouble. That's needed.
Before we go, Gary, is there any player out there in the buyout market who intrigues you?
Well,
I'll give you some names. Again, we're going to save this for a future show. Excuse me, but I'll give you some names. Larry Nance Jr. Bruce Brown.
Make the call.
Seth Curry. Mo Bamba.
Not needed.
Those are just some names. I'm going to have a whole bunch of names for you very soon, I promise.
Larry Nance is a good prospect. If he's in the buyout market, they should go for it because it's going to be not very expensive. It's going to give us size. Side note, the Nikola Jokic thing, the Joker thing, it's not that we're going to stop it. It's that we're going to wear him down. He gets worn down by the third, fourth quarter.
That's my point.
Him. Make him work.
Yeah.
That's it.
I agree. Here's another name for you who could be in the buyout market. Bojan Bogdanovic.
He's like 6'7", 6'8".
He's not small. Yeah, he's got the build of a small forward, but he's a lethal shooter, man. So another person who would space the floor.
I believe Don Levy is not sitting comfortably. He's making calls. He has his team of people looking around. Let's see what magic he does. He works.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the fact that, before we go, I want to touch on this. The Lakers made a trade for Mark Williams right before the trade deadline. And this is where waiting until the deadline could cost you because they're out of time. Like, for example, Simon 2 is writing goal in for Miles Turner. It's too late for that. You can't, trade deadline's over. So that's not an option. The Lakers decided to do a physical on Mark Williams, as is the prudent thing to do for anybody you trade for or sign, and they didn't like what they saw. Mark Williams has missed a lot of games over his young career because of back injuries primarily, and they backed out of that. So Dalton Knecht is back with the LA Lakers. What are your thoughts on that, man? I think that's crazy. I think it helps the Warriors because the Lakers are no longer this big, intimidating team that used to steamroll them. LeBron James, the Warriors now have a counter for him, and Jimmy Butler. I no longer fear the Lakers, man, and I haven't felt like that in a long ass time. What are your thoughts?
I believe that having Luka and LeBron on the same team, it's a good and bad thing because they both demand the ball, and we know how to counter for that because we have the players to counter. Now we have the players to counter them. But not having a real big, it's really good for us because we invented small ball.
Exactly. That's why the Thunder don't scare me, man. That's the entire reason why this year I've never, especially with the start. If the Warriors did not start the year 12-3 and look like a serious contender over a 15-game sample size, man, that is 15 games is over a month. I would not feel this way. And I don't know if Joe Lacob would. I don't know if he would have swung for Jimmy Butler if they didn't have that start. But I still think this team is very much in the running for the title, man. Again, the Nuggets scare me. I'm not going to throw the word guarantee out there because the Nuggets scare me. I don't know if they can beat the Nuggets.
Yeah, but they don't have the depth in the bench. That
they might.
Previously.
But they might. They might, right? I mean, just the fact that they're maybe is enough to at least
the playoffs. The playoffs are a different animal. Shea is not going to be getting those 20, 22 free throws in the playoffs. He's going to be hacked. He's going to be thrown to the ground. He's not going to get all the calls that he gets in the regular.
Yes, sir.
That's a factor.
Yes, sir. And I agree with Not a Gain 90 who says they did get Dalton Connect back. Look, they're still a good team. I don't doubt that. But they're no longer as vaunted as they were. I think the Warriors can beat them now. Again, Denver is the one team I'm scared of. But who are you scared of, man?
Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis deterred a lot of our shots. We got scared when he was in the paint. He's like a pterodactyl down there. He's no longer there.
Absolutely, man. I think
the West is open.
Any final thoughts from you?
The West is open. We just have to go like on 1 or 2 runs, and we're there.
Absolutely. Gary, thank you for joining me tonight, brother. How's the Dominican treating you?
Great. It's great. Can't complain.
Good. I love to hear that. All right, brother. Well, have a great night. And
where's Chardol? He didn't come in today.
Chardol came. You missed it. He was here.
Oh, damn.
Just go back. Just go back in the recording. You'll see it. He's in there, man. Gary, thank you, brother. Have a great night. Great to see you. Thank you, everyone, as we wrap it up. And we'll be back at this again. We're not doing a show tomorrow. I'm not competing against the Super Bowl. So enjoy America's national holiday. Eat some greasy, yummy food, whether it's wings, whether it's pizza, whether it's burgers, whether it's just a huge stoner platter of Doritos and Cheetos. I saw a video, side note, the other day of a dog with the Cheetos orange all around its mouth. It was busted for ripping open a Cheetos bag and was trying to act they're innocent, pretending like it wasn't guilty. And then you see all the Cheeto crumbs on his mouth. And it's one of the funniest things ever. The point is, get your munch on, get your groove on, have a good time tomorrow. I have no idea who's going to win. I'm going to bet on the Eagles. Only because as incredibly dominating as Patrick Mahomes is, as great as he is, no one in the history of the NFL has ever three-peated, and I think that's for a very good reason. And the fact that the Chiefs have never blown anyone out this year, that they squeak through every one of these wins. The Philadelphia Eagles are not a joke of a franchise. They are good on both sides of the ball. So I'm going to put money down on the Eagles. I'm not putting a lot of money down because I think it would be foolish to pretend that if anyone pretended they knew who's going to win that game tomorrow. But I'm going to roll the Eagles. I'll probably lose, but the money line of the Eagles, I think it's like plus 180, was tempting enough for me to bet with them. So go Eagles. And if you're a Chiefs fan, more power to you. I know Brandon Pajemski is a huge Chiefs fan. Regardless, have fun tomorrow. We're back at this Monday. It's the Warriors and the Bucks. Great test for the new look Jimmy Butler Warriors. And we'll be here post game right after that. Sophia Jones will join the program as she does every Monday. But folks, 30 games remaining in this NBA season. It got a hell of a lot more interesting. And tonight was a fantastic debut for Mr. Jimmy Butler. Again, a final stat line for him, 25 points, the 13 free throw attempts. I think he had 3+1s. Because the guy is that physical and that smart around the basket where he can draw fouls and make his buckets at the same time. Man, that is just beautiful to watch. Jonathan Kuminga is going to learn a lot from this guy. The Warriors are going to benefit so much from having this talented individual on their squad. Good times are here, folks, hopefully. And the Warriors won. So until then, I think we're good. Any final thoughts from anyone? Yeah, Bruce Morrow, you might be right. I'm probably going to lose some money. That's also why I'm not betting the house. It is a very small bet just to have some fun. Because the moment you put money on a game, it gets that much more interesting. But if you bet responsibly, hopefully well enough to not put a ton of money on a bet that you don't feel great about. So I'm not putting a lot of money down on that. But we shall see. Rafael Luna, you got some strong opinions on the Eagles. I love it. Have fun, whatever you folks do for the Super Bowl tomorrow. Is bringing up the halftime show. Rap battles are in the house. Good stuff. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I think I got all the paid chats. Yeah. Go Warriors. Good game. See you Monday. Have fun tomorrow. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Jimmy Buckets.